Have you ever felt trapped in a cycle that seems unbreakable? Not because you lack talent or discipline, but because no matter how hard you push, change remains just out of reach. Perhaps you greet each morning with the best of intentions, promising yourself that today is the day you'll eat healthier, work out with purpose, and finally seize control of your destiny, only to find yourself, by nightfall, once again caught in the endless scroll of your phone, lost in binge-watching your favorite shows and making excuses that keep you stuck. Deep within, you sense there is a mightier, more intelligent, and fiercely disciplined version of yourself waiting to break free. A giant that has been silently yearning to be awakened. So why is it that summoning this inner force feels almost impossible? That very question is at the heart of today's exploration. I'm Bix, and welcome back to Bix Book Summary, where we transform life-changing books into engaging practical guides that empower you to act rather than merely dream. Today we dive into Tony Robbins' seminal work, Awaken the Giant Within, a book that transcends simple motivational talk to show you how to take command of your emotions, reshape your mindset, and overhaul your habits so that change becomes a reality. Imagine a life where you're not only envisioning your dreams, but actively building them, where every decision you make sets you on a path toward the extraordinary potential that has been waiting within you all along. The giant inside you has been waiting patiently for its moment to emerge. Now it's time to stir that dormant power, to push past the inertia, and to start living a life that truly reflects your deepest capabilities. Let's wake it up and set our destiny in motion. Tony Robbins wasn't always the charismatic powerhouse and millionaire entrepreneur we see today. There was a time when he was just another struggling guy, scrubbing dishes in his bathtub because he couldn't even afford a proper sink. Every day, he was overwhelmed by frustration and a deep sense of helplessness, constantly whispering to himself, "Someday, things will get better." But that elusive someday never arrived. Then one fateful night, as he sat alone in his cramped apartment, something within him broke free. He stood up, stared at his reflection in the mirror, and made a life-altering decision. I will no longer accept this as my life. This ends today. And that moment marked the very first major lesson from Awaken the Giant Within, that your life transforms the instant you decide it must change. It isn't about having more money, waiting for the perfect moment, or relying on motivation to miraculously appear. It's about making the choice right now. While most people drift through life hoping, wishing, and saying, "I'll try," a true decision demands that you cut off every other option, burning your boats so that success becomes not just a possibility, but the only path forward. So I ask you, what is the decision you've been avoiding? Imagine standing barefoot on scorching hot pavement. You don't have time to think. You don't hesitate. You instinctively leap away because your brain is wired to avoid pain at all costs. Now, shift that scene to a quiet, late-night moment where you're endlessly scrolling through your phone, even though you know deep down that sleep is calling and that tomorrow will be rough if you don't rest. Yet you continue, drawn by the allure of fleeting pleasure, even as it edges you closer to self-destruction. This contrast reveals a profound truth from Awaken the Giant Within. Every action we take is rooted in our drive to avoid pain or chase pleasure. We procrastinate because the act of stepping into change feels painfully uncomfortable. We cling to our habits because breaking them seems daunting. And we steer clear of risks because the specter of failure looms large. But imagine if you could flip this script. What if heading to the gym sparked the same excitement and satisfaction as indulging in your favorite treat? Or what if wasting time on your phone carried the sting of regret, as painful as stepping on a Lego? Tony Robbins calls this transformation neuroassociative conditioning, a process where you reprogram your brain to tie pain to negative habits and pleasure to positive actions. When you master this conditioning, change stops feeling like a struggle and instead becomes a natural automatic response, propelling you forward towards a life filled with purpose and fulfillment. There's a story Tony shares about two brothers who grew up under the same roof, molded by the same harsh reality. A father whose life was marked by abuse, alcoholism, and frequent stints in prison. One brother followed in his father's footsteps, succumbing to a life of violence and addiction, while the other forged a completely different path, emerging as a successful businessman, a loving husband, and a devoted father. When asked why they turned out so differently, Both offered the same resigned answer. With a father like mine, how else could I have turned out? Consider that for a moment. Two individuals, sharing the same tumultuous upbringing and facing identical circumstances, yet their beliefs diverged so dramatically that their destinies were transformed. This powerful narrative underscores a core lesson. Your beliefs shape your reality. If you are convinced that success is out of reach, you'll never even take the first step toward it. If you subscribe to the notion that money is inherently wrong, you'll never build the wealth you deserve. And if you believe you're unworthy of love, you'll inadvertently sabotage every relationship you cherish. The crucial truth here is that beliefs aren't immutable facts. They are merely thoughts repeated so often that we begin to accept them as truth. Imagine the shift that occurs when you change your inner dialogue, when you replace "I'm not disciplined" with "I follow through on my commitments." Or when you swap "I'll never be successful" for "success is inevitable if I put in the work." Once you change the story you tell yourself, everything else changes too. Picture a massive ship cutting through the endless ocean, its destination fixed on the horizon. Now imagine that if the captain adjusts the rudder by just 2 millimeters, a shift so subtle that no one on board would even notice, the ship's path barely seems to change at first. Yet, over the course of a few miles, that minuscule adjustment alters its course entirely, steering it on a completely new trajectory. Now, translate that idea to your own life. Most people assume that transformation demands huge, dramatic changes. A complete overhaul of your diet, waking up at 5 a.m. every day, launching a business overnight, or morphing into a productivity powerhouse in an instant. But the truth is far more nuanced and empowering. It's the tiny shifts, those incremental 2-millimeter adjustments that compound over time to produce massive results. Tony Robbins witnessed this phenomenon firsthand while coaching professional athletes. The difference between a gold medalist and someone who barely qualifies wasn't rooted in raw talent or sheer effort, but in a small adjustment in form, technique, or timing, so subtle that an outsider might never detect it. And the same principle applies to your life. With just a slight change in the right direction, your entire trajectory can shift dramatically. Instead of trying to transform your fitness overnight, simply start by drinking more water today. Instead of forcing yourself to write an entire book in a month, commit to penning just 1 sentence per day. Instead of expecting to master self-discipline instantly, make the small but significant decision to stop hitting the snooze button tomorrow. These tiny, consistent movements, though seemingly insignificant on their own, gradually compound into profound changes in your life. Success isn't the result of one giant leap. It's the outcome of a series of small, deliberate actions, each building upon the last. So take a moment to reflect. What is one small adjustment you can make today that, over time, will set you on a new and exciting path? Imagine 2 individuals poised at the starting line of a marathon. One stands upright, exuding energy and determination, his chest out, breathing deep and steady, eyes fixed confidently on the finish line. He radiates excitement and certainty about the journey ahead. In contrast, the other is slouched, his posture heavy with defeat, his sighs betraying a sense of resignation as he gazes at the daunting distance, convinced that the race will be nothing but misery. It's clear that the one brimming with energy and focus has a far better chance of finishing strong, even though both face the exact same race, under identical conditions. The only variable separating their outcomes is their state of being. This illustrates a fundamental lesson from Awaken the Giant Within. Your emotions aren't something that just happen to you. They are created by you. When you're excited, your body naturally lifts its posture, your breathing deepens, and your voice carries a tone of confidence. Conversely, when you feel overwhelmed or defeated, your body slumps, your breathing becomes shallow, and your voice loses its strength. Tony Robbins refers to this as the triad of emotion, a powerful interplay of physiology, focus, and language. Most people let their feelings dictate their actions, but you have the power to control your emotions simply by shifting these 3 elements. Imagine standing up tall, pulling your shoulders back, taking a few deep, deliberate breaths that fill your lungs completely, and even forcing a smile, even if it feels forced at first, and affirming out loud, "I've got this." In that moment, you'll begin to feel a surge of power and control, because the simple act of changing your physical state sends a signal to your mind that transforms your entire emotional landscape. This is why, Rather than waiting for some elusive burst of motivation when you're feeling low, the most effective strategy is to change your state first. Once you do, your mindset naturally follows. With these tiny shifts, you can revolutionize your entire approach to life, turning obstacles into opportunities and challenges into stepping stones toward your dreams. Words are powerful. Think about it. When you say, "I'm exhausted," your brain hears those exact words and instinctively responds, "Exhausted? Okay, let's feel even more tired." But imagine if you changed your phrase to "I'm recharging." In that very moment, your brain takes a different path, and you begin to feel a bit stronger, a little more energized. This simple swap in language illustrates a profound truth. The words you use create your reality. Tony Robbins observed that successful people not only think differently, but speak differently, crafting a vocabulary that empowers them rather than drains them. Instead of feeling obligated by saying, "I have to work out," they express gratitude and excitement by saying, "I get to work out." When nervousness creeps in, they transform it into anticipation by declaring, "I'm excited." And rather than wallowing in overwhelm, they reframe their busy lives with a confident, "I'm in demand." These small, deliberate shifts in language change how your brain processes your experiences, turning stress into excitement and obligation into opportunity. So here's a challenge for you. Pay close attention to the words you choose every day. Ask yourself whether they are making you feel weak or building you up, because when you upgrade your language, you upgrade your life. Have you ever tried to change a habit only to fall right back into your old ways? Perhaps you promised yourself, "This time I'm really going to stop procrastinating," and for a few days you felt unstoppable, making progress and feeling proud. But then, without warning, you slipped back into those familiar patterns. The reason for this isn't that you lack willpower, it's because real change isn't driven solely by brute force. It's about conditioning. Think of it like training a dog. When you reward a dog with a treat every time it sits on command, it repeats that behavior. If you ignore it when it jumps up, eventually that behavior fades away. We humans operate in much the same way. We naturally do what has been rewarded and steer clear of what brings pain. Tony Robbins calls this process neuro-associative conditioning, which is essentially about rewiring your brain so that you begin to automatically link the pain of bad habits with negative outcomes and the pleasure of good habits with positive rewards. To put it into practice, start by making your bad habits genuinely painful. For instance, if you're addicted to social media, delete those apps or set them up so they're hard to access. And if overspending is a problem, find someone to hold you accountable for your purchases. At the same time, make your good habits more pleasurable. Reward yourself for even a short trip to the gym, play your favorite music while tackling tasks, or attach something fun to every new routine you try to establish. The secret lies in immediate reinforcement. The quicker you reward or punish a behavior, the more deeply that association takes root in your mind. Over time, these tiny, consistent shifts compound, and change stops feeling like an endless battle. Instead, it becomes an automatic, natural part of your life, allowing you to break free from old patterns and embrace a new, more empowered version of yourself. Close your eyes and picture yourself standing in the middle of a thick, impenetrable fog. All around you, you can hear faint sounds, distant voices, soft music, hinting at a destination somewhere ahead. Yet no matter how hard you try, the path remains hidden. This is exactly how many people set goals. They say, "I want to be successful," without ever defining what success truly looks like. "I want to be healthier," without specifying how much weight they need to lose or how strong they want to feel. "I want more money," without detailing an exact amount, a deadline, or a clear plan to get there. A goal shrouded in ambiguity is like driving through fog. You might move forward, but you'll waste time, take wrong turns, and risk getting lost entirely. Tony Robbins teaches that clarity is power. A goal must be specific, measurable, and emotionally charged. Instead of simply saying, "I want to be in shape," declare, "I will weigh 75 kilograms by July 1st and feel confident and strong in my clothes." Rather than just stating, "I want financial freedom," articulate it as, "I will earn $100,000 this year by building my online business and helping people improve their health." Notice the profound difference. One is a vague wish, and the other is a target with a deadline, something your mind can lock onto with precision. And here's the real secret. The why behind your goal is just as critical as the goal itself. If your aim to make more money is rooted in a simple, uncommitted thought, like it would be nice, then when challenges arise, you won't push yourself hard enough. But if your goal is driven by the mission to provide a better life for your family, to explore the world, or to free yourself from financial stress, it transforms from a mere goal into a compelling mission. So don't just set goals. Get clear, get specific, and invest yourself emotionally. When you do, you create a powerful inner drive that makes obstacles seem trivial and propels you forward with unstoppable momentum. Most people go through life simply reacting rather than actively choosing. They wake up and, before even setting a clear intention for their day, they instinctively reach for their phone. They spend precious moments scrolling instead of mentally preparing themselves to seize the day. They wait passively for motivation to strike instead of training themselves to take bold action. And they allow external circumstances to dictate their emotions rather than deciding in advance exactly how they will show up in the world. As a result, life just happens to them. They remain stuck in jobs they despise, trapped in draining relationships, and burdened by habits that gradually erode their true potential. But here's the wake-up call that Tony Robbins delivers. You are already in control. You've simply been handing that control over to everything and everyone around you. Right at this very moment, you have the power to choose a different path. You can choose to sit up a little straighter, feel more powerful, and take one decisive step toward your dreams instead of just musing about them. You can shift your focus from the endless question of, why is life so hard, to a more empowering one, what can I do to make it better? No one is coming to rescue you. Not your boss, not your parents, not your friends. The responsibility to change your life rests entirely on your shoulders. So, ask yourself, are you going to keep waiting for life to change on its own, or are you ready to wake up the giant within you and take control? Because the future isn't something you simply wait for, it's something you create, and that journey starts right now. If there's one message that resonates from Awaken the Giant Within, it's that your destiny isn't predetermined. It's created by you. True transformation doesn't arrive through waiting, wishing, or hoping for a better future. It comes from making a decisive choice to seize control of your thoughts, habits, emotions, and ultimately your life. The people who truly thrive are not those who linger for the elusive perfect moment or allow their past to define them, but those who possess the courage to change, the resolve to take action, and the persistence to keep pushing forward no matter what obstacles arise. When you take complete ownership of your life, you don't become trapped, you become free. Changing your beliefs doesn't strip you of your identity, it unlocks the vast potential that lies within you. And when you take action, you stop merely dreaming about success and start living it. Reflect for a moment on the areas of your life where you've been waiting instead of deciding. Consider one small action, a mere 2 mm shift, that you can implement today to set the wheels of change in motion. Because, at the end of the day, the giant within you has always been there, waiting to be awakened. The only question is, are you ready to bring it to life? If you found this message valuable, show your support by liking, commenting, and subscribing to Bix Book Summary. Dive even deeper into Tony Robbins' transformative insights by checking out the link in the description to grab your copy of Awaken the Giant Within. And before you go, leave a comment below sharing one decision you're making today to change your future. Let's start a conversation. Remember, the future isn't something that simply unfolds. It's something you create. So take action, take control, and awaken your giant.